All right, so now we are live with Anna Bilan, and basically she is the 1% creator worldwide on LinkedIn. So Anna, thank you so much for being on live with us, and we're excited to dive in a little bit to how we can grow LinkedIn and monetize LinkedIn, and a lot about your backstory as well. So thanks again for being on, Anna.
Thank you, Jordan. Excited to be here.
Amazing, me too. So, can you give us a little bit of about background about yourself? I know that you were born in Siberia, and then you made the trip all the way to Toronto. So, give us a little bit of background about yourself.
So I used to be a professional gymnast. I trained for the Russian national team, and then at some point I got injured, and I randomly met a hockey coach from Canada in Siberia. And you just imagine like 10,000 seats arena. There's the final KHL games. It's very similar to NHL. It's just in Europe, and apparently this guy have been coaching Russian teams for the past 10 years. So I randomly selected the seat, and I bought the seat beside this guy 3 times. And he's like much older. I think he's in his 70s right now. But at the time, he just told me like, why won't you come to Canada? And I just did. I had no preparation and no kind of financial support, and had to learn English from scratch. So I did not speak English. It took me a year to do it. I couldn't get to university. I failed for exams. On the fifth exam, as I talked in one of my stories, I actually cheated and I got into university, and I graduated with honors. So because I'm dyslexic, and um, like I just couldn't figure out the writing part. And what is funny about LinkedIn is that right now I'm writing, and I'm getting like views and hundreds of thousands views every week. And at some point, writing actually was my weakness, but now I am writing and people reading it and reacting to it, and it's very exciting. So after I graduated school, I work corporate. I work for CIBC and Deloitte. I work about 5 years for Deloitte, and I just manage very large projects there. One of them Aeroplan and SIM program, and I develop a big transformational project that Deloitte starts selling in the first 6 months for $10 million. I got 5K as my raise, and I said that's not for me. I don't want to stay in corporate anymore, and I left to a small startup to learn how to sell, and I was planning to transition after a year, but fortunately enough, I was laid off, and that's when my actual journey started. I couldn't find a way how can I source free leads for my business any other way except LinkedIn, because LinkedIn does have the highest conversion, and also it's a free way to kind of get the leads. As soon as you understand how to do outreach and create content, it's the cheapest way to get leads.
So there's like a lot to unpack with that, and the first one that I want to just go down is what was like the main factor that caused you to leave Deloitte?
That's a good and controversial question. So I kind of always had to fight for my existence, for my race, for my opinion. There was a lot of politics going on, and I'm just a simple person. I want to put the work in and get something out of it. And if I put the work in, I meet a lot of obstacles. And sometimes when I was considering, okay, so the client hired me and I'm doing the work for the client. However, it's not how it works in Big Four. You work for Big Four and you do what they need to do, what they need you to do. And if it's benefiting the client or not really, you're still working for the firm. So this kind of arrangement wasn't really working for me, and at some point, just one director told me, like, I'm the problem, I'm causing problems. And I didn't want to cause the problem because I was all about solutions. So I didn't feel comfortable anymore. And I, I just decided to leave.
And during that period of time where you were deciding to leave and deciding to start your own thing, did you have anything lined up, like ready to go?
No.
Wow.
So after I left Deloitte, I was looking to start a business, and I always looked for a partner because I just didn't believe in myself. I thought I won't be able to do it alone. I always and I didn't feel confident that I have enough skills to do anything. And I started my first company that was called Arlos. So it was a crypto payment system for e-commerce businesses. And I found a co-founder. We perfectly aligned. We work well together. We got some contracts signed. Microsoft got us the money, and I was like, "This is how entrepreneurship looks like? Amazing!" But unfortunately, co-founder left. I was end up being with a bunch of contracts that were unfulfilled, and I had to deal with that, and it was very difficult times. And then because he was technical, I wasn't technical. I became a software engineer. I spent a year or so to learn how to code, and you know what, it didn't help. It didn't help. So I met another co-founder, and there was always something wrong. As I tell in some of my stories, one co-founder stole money from me, another one I help out to set up everything, and then she just ran away with the product. And at some point I just decided to figure out how can I actually build my own business and how can I rely on myself. And I really had to learn how to trust myself. I didn't trust it myself, and that's why I was trying to partner up with a bunch of people.
So now making the transition onto LinkedIn, why initially LinkedIn? Like, out of all the platforms you could have specialized in, why LinkedIn?
So I always been in B2B space, right? So when we talk about B2B, there's a few ways how we can advertise it. First is, of course, is a website, right? So it's a SEO, right? A search optimization engine. Second is YouTube, and then the third one, so we also have a cold emails, that's another one. And we do have LinkedIn. So at the time, I had the most amount of people already sign up. Like, I had followers on LinkedIn, not that much. It was like 1,000 something, some 1,084 when I left Deloitte, something like that. But when I work at Deloitte, I made a commitment for 4 years every single week to meet with 2 new people. And most of my contacts that I knew that were in my list were actually somebody I knew. So I knew every single person in my network because I just made a commitment for years to network. And I said to myself, okay, so if I do SEO, I don't understand much about this world. Sure, I can make a website, but it actually requires a lot of money to put in to make sure that your website performs. And in my niche, AI and automation, it's taken by the large companies. And it will take so much more time to get to like a niche and sub niche to be able to figure out what works for SEO. So when we are looking there to start getting leads, I would say at probably around 20K, maybe 15K that you had to put up front, and plus a lot of your time, and plus like overall, after 6 months you can see some result, but there's no guarantee, right? So then we have YouTube. In terms of YouTube, the conversion is 1 to 2%. So it's not a lot. I tried to start YouTube, but I realized, okay, so it takes a lot of time to do the videos, even though I love doing the videos, but I don't really speak with real people there, if that makes sense. Sure, if they like something, I can see who liked it, but I cannot see where they work, what they do, what's their income, and so on. And then the last option is LinkedIn. In LinkedIn, I can check who the person is, how much they make, would they potentially be interested if it's my ideal customer profile or not. And it's so much easier to test hypothesis and see, like, is this software works for this type of people, yes or no. If it does work, I just double down. If not, I keep testing other hypotheses. So it's very transparent.
And now when you started to dive into LinkedIn, how exactly did you figure out exactly who you were catering your message to, who your ideal person was?
I think that part was quite easy because I've been product manager, and even at Deloitte I was a product manager, so I was constantly going through exercises. Who's my ideal customer profile? I had a bunch of templates. I went to Brain Station, and I completed the marketing certification and product management certification. So I already had these skills, right? In my sales job, I also we also use LinkedIn, and I knew how to use LinkedIn Navigator. I also, went and study a bunch of different courses about how to use LinkedIn Navigator, how to send offers, right? So I was learning how to do outreach as well. And I tried all kind of different types of outreach, like voice messages, videos, messages, regular messages. So that I did all kind of different things. And in terms of content, I was very scared to post any content because I was like, oh my god, what if I will never be successful in business, and then they will never hire me anywhere else because I'm too noisy. I was told I'm too noisy, and now I'm even more noisy. So, and it took me probably like a couple of years, like on and off to create content and overcome the fear. And I even went to a therapist who kind of helped me to go over the fear of posting every day. And I overcame it. I found a community of other founders who doing the same thing, and it became easy, and that's it. And
Because a lot of your posts, like I follow your posts and they always come up on my feed, and I'm always seeing like every single post that comes out, it's like 100 likes or 100 engagements. And I don't know, like, is there a style in particular that you use the most, whether it's post, whether it's text, whether it's video, that you see for yourself that resonates the most with your audience?
So for the longest time, I was trying to post about AI, and it just doesn't work for my audience. No matter how I dance around, it just doesn't work for my audience. And when you create the content, it's not about what you want to create. It's not about you at all. It's all about you just test and fail. And see what type of style works for you. For me in particular, works personal stories. And right now I'm shifting and I'm posting way more content about corporate versus business. And a lot of people resonate with that, and I'm looking forward to actually launch a digital product about it, because I just see it's working for my audience. However, for other clients, there's a different strategy you can use, which is pre-validated content. So you want to make sure that this content is already performing on the platform, no matter what topics are. It's kind of already working for other creators. So you just look for other creators, look at what performing for them, and try to write it in your own style, because everybody use their own words. Everybody have their own style how you write it, some long, some short. My style is more like storytelling, but it doesn't mean that the style gonna work for other creator. You need to find your unique style, and it's just through analyzing your existing posts and see how they perform and which type perform best, and you just double down on the best performing post.
When you started posting as well, did you find um, did you find that you gained traction pretty quickly? Like within the first weeks, you were able to test out what works, and then it actually works, or did it take a lot of trial and error? And how much trial and error? How long was that?
So that's a good question. For me, I think there's a lot of trial and error, but for clients that I'm doing content for, it happened very quickly because I just already know what to do, and I already know what type of topics performing on the platform, and if I see these topics can fit in into their, like pillars or metrics or topics that they want to talk about, I just incorporate it there, and it works.
For the content pillars, in terms of the topics that you discuss, first off, like who's your ICP, and what are like the content pillars that you create?
I recently changed my ICP and it's going through a transition. I used to focus on small businesses, which is owners of like recruiting firms, legal firms, what else? Legal firms, then accounting firms, like this kind of small companies. So usually, before I was focusing on somebody who's before 50 employees. Then after, I would say, a long testing, because I was trying to figure out what was wrong, I figured that I have to focus on the bigger companies just based on my experience, because when you work for a big, large consulting company, I would say larger clients are more interested, but not as large as I was working at Deloitte for, right? So it was about, I would say, like 100 to 150 people from that area. But now I'm transitioning to anyone who works in corporate. They want to start a business, and I'm just teaching them how to start a business on LinkedIn and how to get clients for service-based businesses.
One of the interesting things that you mentioned before as well was, I wanted to kind of touch on this before, but there was a few other things I wanted to go in after. But it was basically that when you were working in Deloitte, you kind of made it a mission to, I believe you said, like network with like two people per day, or sorry, two people per week.
Per week, yeah.
Per week. And what was the initial? LinkedIn is a lot about connecting. It's a lot about networking, and it's a little bit different than like other platforms in terms of views and virality. So, have you seen like that connection on LinkedIn, that it's a lot about networking as well? And what initially sparked you to want to network with like two people per week?
So I was an immigrant. I didn't know anybody, and I didn't have my parents, and I just realized like there was a lot of expectations from me from back home, and a lot of people think like, oh my God, you just moved to Canada, the life is so much better here, you must be extremely successful. So there was a lot of family and friends pressure, and I just had to, like, I wanted to get promoted. I absolutely loved my consulting job. However, what I didn't like is the politics and the environment that I work in, but I really enjoyed what I was doing. So I was networking with other people to figure out maybe there's a better place, maybe I can get a supporter, maybe I can help this person with something, right? So if you're known in the firm, you get in projects, and that's how I was operating, because they give you the first project, and then for whatever years you're in there, if people don't know you, they put you on a bad project, and I wanted to work on the best project, so I had to get to know people. And I totally did not think that I'm gonna be on LinkedIn and creating content at all. Like, that was not even a thought of mine, and my parents like still think that I'm crazy. They don't know what LinkedIn is. So, and of course, for very traditional parents, they want you to be a doctor, lawyer, or an accountant. So I have my accounting degree, but I just never really pursued that profession, and I found myself on LinkedIn and I love it.
And do you also find that effect as well on LinkedIn? That it's a networking effect on LinkedIn versus other platforms? Do you see like a very big difference versus being on YouTube, Instagram?
So 100%, because the way how LinkedIn algorithm works is that it shows your profile to the friends of friends. So the moment that somebody follows you, their friends would likely follow you, or their friends in the same category, and that's how the snowball effect happens.
Yeah, you even see that you have like second connections on your feed when one of your connections likes somebody else's content. You also see it also on your feed as well.
So their friends start to see you, yes. Not always, because sometimes, let's say you have, let's say 8,000 views or 8,000 followers, and then your views is like at 1,000, but meaning that you create a bad content and it's your audience do not like it. So your audience friends will not like it as well. That's what signals LinkedIn algorithm, and you definitely need to outperform your target audience. And if you do not see that your weekly impressions are bigger than your followers, meaning you do not create a good quality content that is that your audience are interested in.
What part of this do you think niching down has to do? Do you think it's very important for people to niche down, and how niche should they get?
I would say it depends. It really depends what people want. Like usually people have two goals. First is like, I want to be a speaker and I want to be as known as possible, and I want to get an advertising deals, because if you actually advertise something on LinkedIn, it's not really regulated as much, so you don't need to put like, oh, this is an ad, like in Instagram. So you just put it out and just people read it, because there's no that many creators on LinkedIn just yet. And if you compare to Instagram, it will be probably like 2010 or 2011. So the niche is available, or the platform is available to create. In terms of segmentation, so if you will be very, very narrow and very, very specific, it may not appeal to all the audience. So as a result, you will have, let's say, less audience, but potentially more sales, because you don't dilute your content. But if you actually blast in and try to connect and create what I call top of funnel content and try to appeal to everybody, you will get these people attracted to your profile as well. And then you can mix in what I call the middle funnel or the bottom funnel content, which is more specific to your ICP.
We had I was talking to also one of our clients yesterday, and he was mentioning that he put like a personal post that did very well, like better than most of his other posts. But I was like hesitant to say, it's like, oh yeah, put more personal stuff, because I'm wondering if that's going to get him like the conversions that that he would need. So if somebody came to you and asked you, it's like, should I be posting, like, how much personal content should I be posting, because I see that that's getting so much engagement, what would you tell them?
So it can get so much engagement because people just generally want to support you, but it doesn't mean it convert to sales. So what you need to do is, like, you need to post a high impression, but like this is high impression / high engagement post. So you post it first, and then you follow by the middle funnel, the bottom funnel, the sales content. So your impressions are still high. However, and the audience who saw your post before and engaged with that gonna see your next post, and that's how you can get you can improve your conversion by doing that, like high impressions or high engagement, and then the sales post. Like, you really need to mix your content. People won't buy from your personal posts, however, they will build trust with you, and you would need to create a separate post where you actually want to sell something.
Yeah. So you wouldn't say it's like very good to be like all niche specific or all personal, just kind of mixing both and taking
Yes.
the customer down the funnel is the best way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to address that you are the top 1% LinkedIn creator, and that's super impressive. So can you take us back a little bit, like how you talked a little bit about the LinkedIn journey, but like how did you get to this like top 1% ranking?
I would say, first of all, I would say it's a discipline. And so this is very important. Like I post every single day, and it's holidays, it's weekends, it's when I'm tired, when I'm sick, when I have to do something, I have to post. It's not negotiable. I have to post. So I wake up at 5 and I just post for me and my clients, and I post it natively. So I don't like to schedule anything because it's just decrease your impressions. So this is one trick, which is the hardest one. The second one is actually spend a lot of time and do research about what is performing on the platform. For the week, I spend just on research maybe about 5-6 hours.
Wow.
And then I have a team. Right now I do have 2 people who works on my account. And that is like to create the structure of how we do it, because I write the post and then I give it for design. The designer already knows what exactly I'm looking for. It all comes back and then I validate and so on. So there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes, and the process of building that work is kind of important too. And also I would say, if you think that you feel bad sharing it or you feel very uncomfortable, it's the best post to share, because you really need to get outside of your comfort zone and share something that you would probably secretly tell to your best friends and nobody else. So this is the stories that work the best. And I think pretty much that's it. Like it's important to find a community of people who also posting, and in this case you will have no chance to kind of slack back and not to post. But consistency, I would say, it's number one. No matter, let's say, sometimes I made grammar mistakes, sometimes I'm like included the slide or I didn't download the carousel in the right way. I cannot delete it, because if I delete it, my impressions will suffer for the next 3 weeks, and I don't want this. So I do not edit my post after I post it, and I do not delete it, because it does affect impressions, and I just have to live with it. It's like psychologically that I made a mistake and I'm not perfect, and I just have to move forward.
Sometimes that's also a good thing too. That in like the age of everything like being automated and like AI and everything, it's nice to have a spelling mistake there sometimes.
Yep.
What has been your favorite post that you've posted thus far?
I think the favorite post probably was the one that I said about the borrowed credibility. So I was talking about that your corporate. So when you work for corporate, your asset is your email. The moment you leave the corporate, you are nobody. And a lot of people complain about having a corporate job. But when you have a corporate job, you get, a paycheck no matter how you perform, no matter if you're sick, no matter whatever. You still get your paycheck. And you get that email. And when you go and you introduce yourself, you say, I'm Anna from Deloitte. And then when I quit it, people say, you Anna from where? From nowhere. And I think a lot of people just resonated with that post. I didn't expect it would be viral. Like, I just honestly had no time to post. Like, I was like, yeah, let me just get something. Let me just write something. I have to post. And it just ends up being absolutely favorite post, not just for me, but for other people as well.
Was it a text post?
No, there was a photo that is split in half. And one was the one that I was standing by the Deloitte office, and the second photo was where I was just meeting with my client.
And that, because you did mention that there was like one post that went very viral and did very good for you. So, and I've heard it too, because there's a lot of like LinkedIn influencers that I follow on LinkedIn, and they were like, yeah, I posted this one post that I really thought like wasn't gonna do well at all. I posted it like on a Saturday morning, and I was like hungover or something, and I'm like, and then like, oh, it was my best post, and I thought, I'm like, that's so crazy, because there's so many posts that like people spend like hours on. I'm guilty of it myself too. Spend hours on, and then it gets like 2 engagement. One of them is like my mom, and then another one that it was just like an offhanded one. You're like you said, I needed to post, and it does amazing. So what do you kind of have to say to two things? To like, one of like, yeah, you should be posting every day, and two, to people who are like, I'm scared to post because I don't think this post is like subjectively good. What kind of advice would you give for that?
So first of all, we need to turn off our judgment, because imagine like you are working for somebody and you are not the judge, or like you're performing on an arena of doing something and you're just somebody else is judging you. So this is how it works, right? At this point, I can predict which post gonna fly, which post not gonna fly, or approximately like how many impressions each post gonna get. At this point, like I just seen and read enough posts and wrote enough posts myself, so I know which one will perform and which won't, and when. Because if you do have a viral post and then you just write another post that is good, and you know it's gonna be it may be seen, it may be shown to your audience, but because you do have one viral post, most likely it won't show the second post and it won't perform as well. It still will perform well, but not as well.
What are your thoughts too about posting every single day? There's a lot of people who are like, no, you shouldn't post every day because then you'll flood the algorithm and people won't care about your daily posts. What would you
So you have
say
to
that?
post every day, especially on the weekend.
Talk a little bit about that too, posting on the weekend.
So posting on the weekend, a lot of people think that people get into LinkedIn platform from Monday to Friday, but that's actually not true, because it's only like around 20% of creator, maybe even less, creating content on the weekend. So you just have so much more opportunity to show your content to your audience or to new audience. And that's why it's extremely important to post on the weekend. Please do not skip the weekend.
Yeah, because everyone's like, nobody's on LinkedIn on the weekend, but I've seen like posts do amazing on like Saturday mornings as well.
Saturday morning is a very good time. But again, like you have to test for your own audience. Because let's say my audience are super active at like 8:57. This is such a weird time, but for my clients it's very different time, because he's like in construction. One of them is in construction, and people start their day earlier, so I have to post earlier for them. You have to test actually what time works for you best.
Yeah. So there's no like one time fits all. Like at 8 a.m. That's when everyone posts.
I don't think so, no. And also on different days, people log in on different times. And like I know for me on Tuesdays and Thursdays, around 11 o'clock, 11 a.m. is a good time.
Interesting.
But usually, like a general rule of thumb, if you post in the morning, whenever you wake up, just post it. It will work better than in any other time of the day.
And in the evenings, usually in the evenings, I would say. The next questions I wanted to ask was just in terms of commenting, DMing, and writing. So I'll get to the writing at the end, but in terms of the commenting and DMing, how much do you leverage commenting, and how much should somebody who wants to grow their LinkedIn account leverage commenting and sending out DMs?
100% of the time. So at this point, I will be honest with you, I do not sell any DMs. Because I focus on growing the team instead of selling more work. I cannot handle more work at this point. Have to grow the team and then start DMing people again. However, you have to have a community of people who post and comment on you, and you have to comment on somebody else. So you like exchange in the comments, and you need to make sure that, because when you exchange in the comments, the person who you actually write in the comment on, their audience start to see your post, and that's how it grows. So over time it grows this way. Of course you have to have a good quality post, but overall this is how it works. For me, I do have a virtual assistant on my account, and she comments every single day for around, I would say, 100 comments on somebody else's profiles, which are very strategic. And most of the people who actually we exchange comments, it's not like, oh, you're just like commenting whatever on somebody else's profile. You're actually helping each other grow, and we know each other. So to the point is like, we know each other, we track each other comments and posts and so on, and it's a part of the community. So we do that, and of course responding to your own comments after no later than 15 minutes after you posted the post is very important. If you start responding to comments after 15 minutes, your post is dead. So that is very important.
So it will almost be best if like you comment, or you make a post and then you wait like 30 minutes to see if it gets any traction, any comments, and then within those 30 minutes, would you say like you should comment?
So usually my posts pick up like after even less than a minute, because I do have community who help me to boost the post, right?
Okay.
And then later on, some new people come in that I don't know. And then I see, so some of them could be my potential clients, and some of them people who also trying to grow. And then we just schedule calls, we get to know each other, we have community, and we just getting into community, building community, supporting each other, and so on. And let's say if you have 100 comments, like potentially, even if you have 5 new people who potential like ideal customer profile comment on your post, and you sell them for something for $2,000, it's $10,000 per post. Like, it's a lot, right? If you sell automations like I did, somebody post, right, and somebody comment or somebody DM you, like from one post I made $36,000.
Wow.
Because people just DM me and say, hey, okay, so this is relevant, let's meet, let's talk, and that's it. So people who help you to comment, yes, they just help you to boost the post, to make sure you're shown to more people who your ideal customer profile. That's it.
Wow, that's that's an interesting strategy as well. So I have the last 2 questions, and one of them would basically be in terms of the writing, because I think that even with the age of ChatGPT, there's so many just like full-on texts that are just like ChatGPT related completely. That this was like pulled out of ChatGPT. How important even nowadays do you think it is to be able to properly write, both on LinkedIn and in general? What is the benefit of even CEOs, founders, any creators on LinkedIn to know how to write?
I'm dyslexic, I'm not the best at writing, but I'm best at coming up with the best ideas on the right angles. So it's extremely complex process in terms of how I write, and I use multiple systems and multiple custom GPTs that help me to write, compelling hook. Like, I may write 10 different hooks before like not more, like I think it's like sometimes even around 50 hooks before I actually like any hook. I was like, oh, okay, so I like this hook, I think this is a good hook, right? I also look at so if I start from the beginning, I spend 5 to 6 hours on analyzing my own content and see maybe certain posts perform very well, maybe a certain part of the post that is in the comments perform very well. So I analyze that and I just see maybe which phrase performed the best, and I'll just like keep feeding it to other posts and so on. This is one. Then, if you want to write good content, make sure you have proper numbers. So numbers really help. Like I help customer to save $50,000. I live in, 3 meters by 3 meters room, or I lost $99,000 before I figure out my business. This is like real numbers, but that's what captures people's attention. So then you analyze what is performing on the platform, and some of it among your friends that follow you and comment on you, right? And of course, you want to get to bigger friends who have more like they have more engagement on them, right? And if they engage back on you, you get an access to their followers, and you just like growing much more, right? So this is that, and then you just figure out based on your content pillars what kind of content will work for you from what is currently performing on the platform. And then you start writing. And then after you wrote a post, you said, okay, how do I design it? And then I also search for some designs that are trendy right now, and I create them in my colors, or like add my own flavor around it. And whenever I found pre-validated content that I think gonna perform for me, I also make sure that I do additional research, and I see like what else can I add, because it's not enough. So after that, of course, I give it to my designer. I can design it myself. We use also a bunch of tools to generate images and text and all kind of stuff. And then when designs are ready, I'm ready to post, and then I post, and then I do the whole process again. So it's not something that you can just spend 2 hours a week and you became you have 2 million followers like in 1 year. It just doesn't work this way. You have to do it every single day.
Yeah, we like LinkedIn too because it's a lot of it feels kind of like the new platform for PR and access that you couldn't have to like C-suite level executives. It feels like you can just, LinkedIn can give you that if you're using it as it should be used, and if you're presenting it with like proper content. So I'm a big fan of it. So I want to wrap it up, and I always ask the guests this final question every time that we go live, and it's basically, if you could give advice to your 21-year-old self, what piece of advice would that be?
Create content and don't give up. So it's just like, imagine you own an apartment or buy a real estate. So when you grow on LinkedIn or any other platform, it's the similar way that you buying a piece of real estate. No matter what business you're gonna start, right now you're running this business, then you're gonna run some other business, then something else. So your followers are always gonna be with you, and no matter what business you're gonna start, you do not start from zero. You do not need to invest any money in marketing, in SEO, nothing like that. Your audience have been watching you for months and months and months, and they start buying it from you. So if you really want to generate wealth and looking forward to have your own business, like if you're a coach, or maybe you have a tech product, or maybe you're in consulting, you have to start getting followers, and it's going to be your asset and your foundation to make sales for any product that you make. So start today.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Anna, for being on. And is there any place that people can find you, any platforms that you want to plug in?
Sure. I mean, for anybody who joined the webinar, I'm happy to give a free consultation. I don't know how it can be shared, my link, but I'm more than happy to just help them out to grow and just give it at no cost to make sure more people can create content themselves.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Anna, for being on. And yeah, I actually, on a side note too, I do work in the same office as Anna. So that's how we met each other. And she does really, really good work. I always go over and she's harder at work than I am usually. So thank you again, Anna, for being on.
Thank you, Jordan.
And looking forward to seeing you back in the office.
Yes, thank you, Jordan, so much.
Perfect. Take care. Have a good one, Anna. And it's just going to take